Hey, it's Ty, and welcome back to our Advanblack YouTube channel. Today we are focusing on our Holeshot Performance Bagger series, and we're going to be putting it on our 2019 Road Glide. This is more of a promotional video. We have instructional videos that you can see on the rest of our content channel, but today we just want you to see what it looks like when we go from a naked bike and truly transform it with a bundle kit. This is our Rangers out of our custom series, that's the name of it. We chose the yellow, black, and red and gray, but you can choose whatever colors you want. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. Alrighty, so we left the inner fairing with all the sub-assemblies, the headlight already on there. That takes quite a bit of effort to go ahead, see the instructional videos on how to do all that. But what we wanted you to see is when the outer fairing is off, it's kind of black and ugly. So we want to go ahead and take the outer fairing, put it on for you so you can see just how much of a difference just the outer fairing itself makes. So we're going to slide it up into place, and first thing you need to do is go ahead and plug in your turn signals. And then you'll slide it up into place, and you'll attach the screw on the inside. I kind of lay my body against it and come in here . And we'll grab the other. Again, lay your body against it. Come from the inner fairing in through. Grab it. I like to go ahead and snug everything down with the tool and then go back in and hand tighten it, hand torque it to get everything, just to make sure you know everything has been properly attached. This one you want to tilt in. There you go. You can feel here it all positively connects. All right, now we got the windscreen back on and affixed, and then so now before I put my speaker grills on, I'm going to go ahead and go over and hand tighten these two bolts, one on each side, and then also the bolts that also hold on the turn signals. Start on the outside, get the tab in, line up the other two tabs, then push them into their corresponding holes. And now we're going to go ahead and add the ProTech Performance Front Crash Bar. I've already kind of assembled this on the bench by putting the sliders on. You can wait till you install that to be able to do it. There are plenty of other videos, again, where you can see that. You're going to come in here, slide it across, and you're going to bring it up. I've already pre-installed the bolts, the washers, and the spacers, and that will go ahead and sit down right on these two bolts. And then next we'll go ahead and we'll install the lower bolts that capture each of the flanges on each side, add some medium strength thread locker, and those will go in right down here. One right below the brake rear master cylinder, and the other one corresponding on the other side. So leaving everything loose so you can kind of get all the holes to align, and then come back in and you will torque those down. Don't forget your Loctite. It's like I need a pocket just for Loctite. I'll come to this side, line these holes up. And then we'll tighten the two down in the center, and that'll be installed. All right, next is the lower spoiler kit for the Road Glide. And on the lower spoiler kit, you've got these two posts, and then you put the grommets in the lower oil cooler corresponding, and slide those in. There you go. You're going to feed up the legs now. Come over to the clutch side. It's all about the right perspective. So coming here and being able to see how they slide together from this position makes it much simpler, says the man who hasn't got it together yet. There we go. Slide that right up there in the bottom of the outer fairing, and these two screws here hold it there. And then we've got a screw here from a bracket that we've installed on the underside. All right, and then there are these clamps that I already slid onto the ProTech bars on both sides, and there is a corresponding brass insert to where these mount. So these clamps stabilize the spoiler kit in the mid area. Don't need to over torque those are just going into brass. And then there is also where the legs and the bottom come together, there's also another brass insert that you'll grab and tighten it as well. All right, we're cruising right along now. We're on to the Holeshot Performance chopped front fender. What I like to do is I like to come through, roll it right up, lay it on the tire itself. That way it's held in place. Then I grab the spacers. These are nice spacers that have been machined. There is a smaller flange and a larger flange. The smaller flange goes outboard, the bigger flange goes in. And what I do is I take the bolt, and what I'll do is I'll set it up in here and then get it in the right place. I'll slip the bolt through, find the hole in the spacer, get that all lined up, and then I'll lift the fender into place and push it through, and then you've got your first point that'll hold it in place. And then move to the back, same thing, slide it through, get it through, find the hole in the spacer and the fender. So now this side, the brake side's all flushed up. Go ahead and grab the spacer on the other side, straighten the fender up, push in on the fender a little bit, just that way you're not scratching as you're sliding in the spacer. You spend all this money making it look good, you don't want to get it all scratched up. So again, grab your bolt, slide it through, get it lined up, push it through, and then the back, same thing. Make sure your spacer is all lined up. Sometimes you gotta wiggle and jiggle. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and on this bolt, you'll install a flat washer first, and then you've got a nylock nut, and that will keep your front fender where it needs to be. All right, now we've got the front button up. We're going to keep moving our way back. We've got our new Vengeance black and red trimmed front driver floorboard and rear passenger. We're going to go ahead and put those on now. I push the bolts all the way through, then get them tightened down to where the nut lines up with the hexagonal recess in the floorboard mount, and then I'll draw the nuts right into that recess. All right, moving on to the passenger. Larger bolt goes in the top, and the smaller bolt goes in the bottom. Don't forget your medium strength Loctite. Alrighty, now on to the Holeshot Performance chopped tank. So I've went ahead and I already swapped the internals for all of the gas tank components, and that's not very difficult. It is a little bit time consuming, and you become having the ability to do a lot of manipulating with your wrists to get everything where it needs to be, but it is not that difficult. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna install this on the bike now. It mounts basically at 4 main points and has just a vent line and the harness. All the holes lined up. Gonna feed these right up through the tank where they will be covered with the dash console. Alrighty, you can use Torx or you can use a socket. In this instance, my 1/2-inch deep well socket was closest, so I grabbed it. Just reinserting the fuel line, pull the collar up, push, and then you hear it snap and connect. Good to go. All right, dash console going on. Don't forget to always leave your fuel cap on so you're not huffing. Just make sure your wire and your vent line are inside. And in order to tighten down the front screw, you're gonna need to turn your ignition switch. Let's get access to it. Get the fuel cap on as quickly as possible, unless you enjoy that smell. Alrighty, this is the most complicated part. I'm just kidding. Holeshot side covers. And I guess I should show you that these pins are adjustable, so they screw in and screw out. And that makes them so you can find the right line once you get them pushed in. So what you're wanting is a nice straight parallel line here, so I've already pre-adjusted those pins, and so I've got a nice good clean straight line. Alrighty, so now we're going to move on to the rear fender. This is the Holeshot chopped rear fender, and it comes with a lot of pieces, honestly. It comes with your tail lights, which we'll install. It comes with this license plate bracket. It comes with license plate bolt lights and a wire harness. And so the wire harness will come separated, and you will need to cut it to fit, and then you'll go ahead and shrink tube and go ahead and wrap your wires here where it is all connected. So I'm gonna do something a little different. Traditionally, we put the fender on and then we build it around the fender, but what we're gonna do today on the soft table is just to show that we can also build it on the soft table and install it as a sub-assembly. So tail lights go on after you have already put the license plate bracket on, which are 4 screws, 4 washers, and 4 locked nuts, nylon lock nuts. And these also have 4 washers and 4 nylock nuts. As you can see, the fender's a little dirty. We've already had this installed once. I'll snug these down, and then I'll flip it over and I'll show you the rest of the install. As you can see, I'm tightening this up. This is a plate that comes on the inside. It's a full-length spanner plate so that you get good, strong rigidity. Alrighty, so we just mounted the license plate bracket, the lights, and then also don't forget you're going to swap over your nut mounting hardware. You're going to put the rear ones in. You're going to wait to put the front ones in until we actually get it mounted on the bike. Don't forget your rear seat bolt mount, and then also your solo mount seat. And again, these white washers, don't just push them on there and pull them off. Actually screw them on. That way they actually do their job and hold that bracket in while you get the nuts on. And when you take those nuts off, they just don't fall out. All right, we're going to go ahead and transfer this to the bike. Alrighty, so these mounts here on the rear side, they are normally really difficult to get in, so I like to go ahead and take the strut, these chrome strut covers that also mount for taillights. They also mount for the bag rails and the exhaust. I like to go ahead and just take them all the way loose. That way you've got all the opportunity to get this in there without scratching your new fender. And then you can roll that, walk it right up into place, and then put your bolts in on each side, and that'll pin the rear so that it'll swivel, and you can install your front bolts, and then we can attach the rear components as well. All right, you got your harness. You're going to feed that through this hole, and you're going to bring it up and over your belt. Make sure everything's clear, and in the next step we'll go ahead and we'll run that and attach it where it needs to go. Now I'm going to continue to install the rest of the hardware that holds the rear fender on, and now we're going to go to these nut mounts. So you've got a nut, and it is actually cut out so that it will hold itself when you slide it into this hole. So it's notched, and then you're going to go ahead and install the nut. This is why you wait, and you're going to install that on both sides, tighten those down, and then after we get a few things installed, we'll be able to rotate that up into position and actually tighten it down. All right, you've got a right and a left as far as your turn signals and running lights. So we're going to go ahead and connect the left, and you'll hear it click, and that's in. And this other wire is the wire that runs to your license plate bolt lights. So that is the way that we are choosing to illuminate that. These you can run right up into the factory wire hangers. You'll just clip those in and work those in each one of these clips. And then when you're done getting that in, then you'll feed this wire, and then your right, that'll go up through. I tend to loosen this so that it's easier to feed the harnesses up through this area. I bring it right up through here. Feed the one, and then feed the second one. I just like to have the wires all clean, tucked up, and not in any harm or any way of rubbing or causing any issues. So you'll bring those up in through there, and then we'll put this back in. This is where your main fuse is. So if you're ever doing anything electrical or connections, you're going to want to pull that fuse. And you can do a little research on how to do that. There is a procedure. You're going to fit this bottom half circle, semicircle right around that grommet. All right, now we'll go back to the back and we'll put on some more bracketry. Alrighty, so bringing your right side harness over, here's a little tip and a trick so that you don't have to depin this to try and fit it through a little hole. I run it actually up here in the front. So drop the plug in through here, drop it down, and then I just work it to the front, along through here, bring it across, behind the frame, behind the shock, and then these areas, just like the other side that actually have the clips, these don't, so you're going to go ahead and just have to zip tie these, and then go ahead and put in and click, and there you go. All right, so we provide a cut bag roll basically that you can use for the ProTech saddlebag performance crash bars. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to install this cut rail so that we can slide the ProTech crash bar right on in, and it'll all mount and create your bag rail for your saddlebags. So you're going to want to transfer your rubber cushion dampener that mounts your muffler bracket, and this is to allow you, especially if you have cutouts, to be able to move your exhaust to center them within those cutouts. But since this is a performance bike, we don't need to worry about that. We will just attach them and tighten them down right where they fit. All right, this mount bracket, we're going to go ahead and feed that in now while we're still working back in this area. You'll come up underneath, and this is nice to do while you've still got the fender rotated forward so that it can have easy access. Lock nuts, so they're a little bit oblonged. All right, the ProTech Performance Rear Saddlebag crash bar, we have the sliders already pre-installed. So we're just going to go ahead and first locate your bag rail, and this is going to slide right onto that new bag rail that we provide. And you are going to just kind of work it on until your holes line up, and then you're going to run this bolt through and this nylock nut. Don't tighten it completely down, but get it ready. And then you're going to bring it and line it up on the top. And again, this is where from the factory you've got those risers which basically lift your seat to create air so that your electronics will cool. But you no longer need that piece. So you use your bolt. That lines up there. And then you have another bolt and nut to attach this rear part back here. Nut on the back side. And we'll go ahead and get those tightened up. But that creates your bag rail and your crash bar for your saddlebags. All right, same as the other side, we've already pre-assembled sliders. So for me, I like to go ahead and you're just going to rotate it till the holes line up. Gonna feed your bolt through. Come up top. Line these up. Alrighty, here we go with our Holeshot bottom bags, with our tops, done in the custom series. Since I do this all the time, I just like to get them started, and then I figured out that you can tighten these down with an 1 1/8 inch socket. So just another tech tip, FYI. Alrighty, the final piece to this masterpiece is the Pro Monkey seat. Red stitching, Advanblack seat bolt. All right, there you have it. So this is it. This is the Ranger paint scheme that is going to be available in our custom series. So if you go on the website, go to custom series, and you'll see all the different custom paints that we have. This one, again, is the Ranger, but we were focusing today on the Holeshot Performance Bagger Kit. And so hopefully this gives you just a bit of a taste. I know you're probably going to see steps that were missed, but again, we have full instructional videos on our YouTube Advanblack channel. But today we just wanted you to see, hey, you probably clicked on that yellow bike and you were curious, and then it brought you to here so that you can see, you know what? I could do that at home. It's a pretty simple, easy install. Doesn't take long. This could be in your garage. All right, we just want to say thank you once again for watching us on the Advanblack YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next build.